Here we go. Economic recursion. So this is the economic movements from underground to blockchain. Black Wall Street, Tulsa, architected by O.W. Gurley, and this is 1906 to 1921. Compacted black wealth, destroyed white mobs, and built blueprints for reparation. So, self-sustaining. And I'm missing the word, but yeah, being able to self-identify basically. Numbers game, USA, Harlem and Chicago Black Mob, 1920s, underground economy, precursor to modern lotteries. Cooperatives, Brazil, Colombo communities, 1980s, differentiated farming, bypassed racist land laws. And there were many movements, even in the US as well, for bypassing redlining when it came to property acquisition. And I think that's great. Like, especially the one I know of is mainly in Chicago, but I just know if there's something like that in the Americas, so that's very inspiring. And especially for people from the motherland, because often our land rights are toyed with a lot. So Bitcoin in black. Isaiah Jackson, Bitcoin in black, 2020s. Unified crypto adoption as hedge against racial wealth gap. Yes. So building parallel systems and also being able to not just deliberate, but what's that word? Let me find it for you really quick. Self-determination, yes. The ability to have self-determination and basically not let anybody just trample over you and walk all over you. So it goes away more than just identifying yourself. It's we have established this and we're determined to preserve it, you know, regardless of any circumstances even, or, you know. And that's why these international courts are so important. And although they have a long way to go, I'm glad they exist. I see Jerry. I see, you know. So now we're gonna go to the education sector, coming from the economical sector. So from slave codes to STEM. And if anybody is wondering what I'm using to research, I use DuckDuckGo, but also I use a automated system called Gabaya AI. It's actually made by a brother. Check him out. But yeah, I'll link it below. It's great for research and really digging into like this paperwork and even being able to cross-reference and cite sources. Like, it's actual empirical work. So yeah, tap into it. So clandestine schools, enslaved teachers in 1800s, compact literacy. This was reading back then was punishable by death in some states. So these teachers would take it upon themselves to like educate the youth, basically, but on the low. And HBCUs, Howard, Tuskegee, architects are Booker T. Washington and E.B. Du Bois. So, and this is 1865 to 1900s. Differentiated education models, vocational, which is what Booker T. Washington stood for, and liberal arts is what Du Bois stood for. So I think I love this conversation because the solution is both, but having two brothers that existed in the same time period with different opinions showed you know, the gaps that really need to be filled, and that multiple things can exist all at once, you know. And the world is a market of sorts. There's always going to be holes and gaps to fill. So this is Black Twitter, hashtag activism, and an early adopter of that / architect is Feminista Jones, 2009. Afrotech Conferences, Maurice Du Bois, 2016, Unified Black Tech Ecosystems, VC funding for Black startups, super important. And Black education basically is not just empowerment, but who gets to control the stream of knowledge, because just introduction to knowledge prompts someone wanting to know knowledge of self within themselves. That's super important. That's a part of a lot of people's hero's journey, self-actualization in itself. So yeah, it basically directs energy flow, and which is sacred work, which I hate. That's why I hate that educators, nurses, and people who work in healthcare sector and education sector, they're not getting represented. They're not getting the representation they need in this time period. I know it'll fade, but those people are doing the God's work, you know. Honestly. I don't know how many times I can tell you how much those mental health evaluations when I was a kid saved my life, you know. And I know I'm not just the only one, so feel free to comment, you know, different things that you noticed helped you, that are really being like dumped on and talked trashed on nowadays.